Hi, everyone. Welcome to Leading Ladies' newest episode of Conversations with Queens. I got a story to tell. Today, we have a special guest with us, Mykelle Richburg, and my name is Nicole Jean-Pierre, and I'm a senior.
Hello, everyone. My name is Faith Green, and I am also a senior.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kayla Galia, and I am a junior.
And now for a little bit more about Mykelle, we're going to hear from Faith with her bio.
Mykelle Richburg is a devoted, organized, and creative nonprofit professional with 6 years of combined experience in strategic planning and public engagement in the nonprofit sector. Mykelle is an energetic and excellent communicator with the ability to cultivate a positive team atmosphere in order to drive success. Mykelle has proven to have the ability to meet deadlines and build collaborative working relationships with all employee levels and various teams. As a director of strategic partnerships with the Sadie Collective, Mykelle was able to bring in over 20,000 in-kind donations and engaged over 30 employers that targeted employment opportunities for over 100 Black women. The career fair resulted in hiring of 8 women in full-time positions and internships. Additionally, Mykelle Richburg was a summer fellow with the Montgomery County Council, where she researched and synthesized information on public policy priorities for youth transitioning out of foster care. As a result, Montgomery County created a task force that addresses affordable housing solutions for youth in foster care. Mykelle's advocacy on behalf of undeserved communities, coupled with her accomplished history in authentic partnership building, program development, and academic training in public administration, criminal justice, and psychology, inspires her to pursue a career in public service. Mykelle Richburg currently works as a legislative assistant for the DC Council.
So our first question for you is, how has your experience at Elmont Memorial High School helped shape you into the person that you are today?
I would definitely say I received my foundation at Elmont Memorial High School through participating in programs such as Model United Nations that was first able to introduce me to world issues and understand what policy is, how to speak, how to debate, how to get my point across, how to do research and translate that into policy solutions or legislation, as well as instilling in me the importance of service. So while I was at Elmont Memorial High School, I was a member of SAD, as well as president of Big Brothers Big Sisters. And so I always saw the importance of giving back and mentoring. And I'm an advocate for that, as I have mentors that have guided me and made me into the woman that I am today. I also believe in serving others and helping them reach their full potential.
Okay, thank you. And as in your bio, and you've also mentioned, what are your future career goals in public service?
I would definitely say I can see myself holding public office, whether that's as a council member or a congresswoman. Hopefully DC will become a state. But as you know, right now I live in DC. And so that is one of my aspirations. And I can also see myself being the executive director of a nonprofit organization.
So a little bit more about your career. Have you ever thought about another career besides public service?
Well, I always didn't think that I would be where I am today, meaning when I first entered college, I thought I wanted to be a psychiatrist. And then I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. And then I stumbled onto policy, and I'm still navigating that space. However, I always knew that public service was a calling for me because of my dedication and my passion for advocacy and just being able to serve as a person that can provide a voice to those that may not have access to other resources to be able to express what their any hardships.
Okay, based on what you said about public service and all the services that you do, so what made you devote your talent and time to serving the public sector versus, sorry, can I start?
Sure.
Okay, so what made you devote your talent and time to serving the public sector versus private sector?
That's a very good question. And I have a lot of these conversations with my friends that work in the private sector. And what drives me is goals and being able to say, here's a problem and this is how you can solve it. But being able to have that emotional connection, that community connection, that grassroots level, that's why I chose to work in the nonprofit sector opposed to the for-profit sector where the goal is to make money or make a profit. And that's not my goal. If I can just impact one life. Based off of my role, that is what drives me, what motivates me to continue to pursue a career in public service.
And what are the highs and lows you would say of working with a nonprofit organization?
I would say the highs and lows, and that's with anything, you're always going to have valleys and you're always going to have peaks, but understanding that you can't solve all of the issues, as public servants, you want to believe that you have a solution to everything and understanding that it's also not going to be instant. And so at times things can take longer than expected. And so that would be part of some of the lows, but when you finally reach that goal or have that moment of satisfaction, it makes all the hard work that you put in worth it.
So in your bio, we heard a little bit about working with youth in the foster care system. So what are some obstacles that you have encountered when working with youth in the foster care system?
So prior to working with the Montgomery County Council, where I was able to help a task force get created, I worked for a nonprofit organization called the Young Ladies of Tomorrow. And a lot of the girls that were involved in the program, the organization is for girls that have been involved in the juvenile justice system. And as a result of participating in the after school program, their records would be exonerated. And so being able to connect with the girls and get them motivated to attend school was a little challenging because that was not something that they had aspirations to do. And so being able to convince them and show them the importance of receiving education, at first I did receive pushback from the girls, but just being able to work with them and instill in them and let them know that they do have the opportunity and the resources to do it. They can use me as a sounding board. There are other organizations that can help them get to where they are and realize that this goal is attainable and it's not. And so I would say that was one of the challenges that I encountered while dealing with girls that are involved in the foster care system.
So you spoke about helping girls and being able to learn from these girls as well. So what advice would you give to young girls who want to work in public policy in the future?
Any advice that I would give is understanding that your path is not linear. And so you may have detours, you may not have it all figured out, but understanding that wherever you are in life, it's supposed to be where you are. And so I would just give that advice to anyone. And like how I stumbled into policy, I worked at numerous different organizations, from environmental organizations to criminal justice organizations. But each internship that I had, I was able to gain different skills that are beneficial to the job that I have today. So just understanding everyone's experience, everyone's career is not going to look the same, and your journey is tailored just for you.
And with some of this advice that you would give younger girls, I'm sure that you would instill the same morals in yourself. So what advice would you still tell your younger self from the position that you're in right now?
I would tell my younger self this, I would tell my current self this, and my future self this, that it's always going to work out. And it's so important to be in the present and not in the future or in the past. You are supposed to be where you're at and it's going to work out. And so if you have faith and if you trust and believe that where you are, I think that advice is crucial for any point in your life.
So from your work with young girls and just being a woman, especially a woman of color yourself, have you ever been in a situation in which you have been the only woman of color? What was your experience like and what did you learn from it?
Yeah, so I've been in a lot of internship positions where I was the only Black woman. And I just remember when I was a summer fellow with the Montgomery County Council, I remember I was not only the only Black girl that was there, but I was also the only one that went to an HBCU. And so I had moments where I did doubt myself, but then I remembered like I'm supposed to have a seat at the table and I'm here, I'm qualified. Doesn't matter what institution I went to, doesn't matter my background, I have the credentials. And so just being able to remember that and understand that there were people that were in, that would be the only Black girl in the room, but I won't be the last. And hopefully we can continue to work towards spaces where we can diversify different opportunities. But definitely just having to reinstill my confidence and reach out to my mentors, reach out to my friends that also have been in similar situations, but understanding like I'm just as qualified and deserving of having the opportunity as my peers.
In your bio, it was mentioned how you attended an HBCU. So how has attending an HBCU transformed you?
I would say attending an HBCU helped me recognize my identity. I was able to learn and meet people from different parts of the African diaspora, whether it was from the Caribbean to the continent of Africa to South America to North America, just understanding the African diaspora, learning about myself, being around like-minded individuals that wanted to advance, and just being around intellects. I wouldn't trade that experience for the world. And being able to have professors that look like me, could sympathize with me, and actually wanted to instill in me all the tools that would be necessary to help me advance to the next level and ensure that I'm qualified and I do have the confidence to walk into any room and feel like I belong.
And at your time throughout Howard, what would you say are some of the organizations or maybe even internships that you joined in college that helped you become where you are today?
So while I was an undergraduate, I had the opportunity of joining Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, which was a public service organization, which was very influential. And again, being a part of the sorority that many noble African American women have been a part of to be connected to social justice issues, to give back to my community. That was definitely one of the most influential organizations. Another thing that I got to do while in undergrad was participate in alternative spring break program, which is where we did community service all around the world. And so I got to lead a community service trip to St. Croix during my senior year. And I also was a member of College Has Its Life Lessons, which is an organization that works with high school students that are in the Upper Bound program, which is where you can take college courses as a high school student. And I was able to serve as a mentor. And I would say just one of the most rewarding experiences from that was being able to meet my mentee in high school. I mentored her throughout college, and then now she is in the master's program that I was in. And so being at Howard University, I got to be involved in a lot of community service organizations and that were able to be rewarding. And then in terms of internships, I got to work for a DC council member, and that was the first internship that I ever had. And now that's the first job that I received outside of grad school. And so it's just a full circle moment, just showing you again how your path, you never know where it can lead you to.
Our last question for the night will be, what is your most rewarding part about your career?
I would say one of the most rewarding parts of my career thus far, I would say came yesterday. Being able to attend a session with my council member and other congresswomen and doctors. One of her priorities for running for council member is to address the Black maternal health crisis. And so being able to learn from a woman that looks like me and is addressing issues such as the Black maternal health crisis, which is prevalent in the United States, but also in DC, which suffers from a very high maternal mortality rate. I would say so far that's been a rewarding experience for me, and just being able to sit and immerse myself and be able to be in a space where I could work on an issue that will not only affect women that look like me, but also my friends and family members. I would say so far that's been a very rewarding experience, just being able to see the policy side of things and how there's one problem, how we're using legislation to work towards creating a solution that can impact women.
So thank you, Mykelle, again for joining us tonight, taking the time out of your day to speak with us on so many different topics. We really do appreciate it. And thank you everyone else for tuning in to our episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Elmont_leading_ladies, and stay tuned for our next episode. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Thank you for having me.